श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्किक केसरी वेदांताचार्य वर्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि श्रीवासरंगपरकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षणयतित्युगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमलर्कशीलं गोपालदेशिकमुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः व्यासं वसिष्ठनत्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे सुखतातं तपोनिधिं व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम. We had started off with a humble beginning with the introduction to Bhagavad-gita as a kind of essence of the entire Bhagavad-gita, utilizing, making the wonderful Gita Sangraham of Swami Yamunacharya, and then we enjoyed the first chapter and the second chapter beginning. We just saw at a brief the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga. So the Sankhya Yogam is the correct knowledge, philosophy of correct knowledge. So when Karma Yoga is performed equipped with the knowledge of the Jivatma, the self, it leads to the realization of the Jivatma's true nature called Jnana Yoga. We will be able to visualize, understand, comprehend the Jivatma's nature. So it leads to Jnana Yoga. Performing Karma Yoga performed equipped with the knowledge of the Jivatma will lead to Jnana Yogam, and the steady state of mind which is described in the second chapter at the end called Sthita Prajnatvam. Sthita Prajnatvam, steady state of mind. So that's what we had a brief introduction about the steady state of mind. Arjuna was asking many questions and there were answers from Lord Krishna. He said, you have to do the duty of a Kshatriya. It's not a dishonor. It is not a dishonor. Means, is it not a dishonor than the death to a Kshatriya? If you walk away, run away from the battlefield, it is a shame. It's a dishonor. You should not do that. You should fight. Otherwise you will incur papam. If you fight, you will not incur papam. If you do not fight, you will incur papam. So then he says, you have to focus your mind towards the action, towards the duty. And he mentions that the focusing of mind, he mentioned in the 50th slokam 50. He says, he beautifully Krishna mentions, Buddhi yukto jahati hai ube sukrita duskrite tasmat yogaya yujyasva yoga karmashu kaushalam. Krishna says, this is called Sthita Prajnatvam, steady state of mind. And Arjuna immediately wants to know, what is the nature of the steady state of mind? What is the nature of the man who has the steady state of mind? What does he talk about? And Krishna gives an elaborate reply. In fact, in the 54th slokam, Arjuna asks, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. He asks, what does he talk about? What does he think about? What does he do? The steady state of mind. The person who has got a firm mind, steady state of mind. What does he do? What does he talk? What does he behave? And Krishna gives an elaborate reply. He said, the body, mind and the speech should be in unison or referred to here. So, what does he talk about is speech. What does he think is mind. What does he do is body. Your Sthita Prajna is not disturbed by the speech or the mind or the body. So Krishna mentions that Vignamanaha Sukeshu Vigatasprihaha Vitaragabhayakrodha Stitadhir Munirushyate. So he says, Krishna gives wonderful reply, elaborate reply. He mentions four stages of describing the four stages of Sthita Prajnatvam, the steady state of mind. He says, not being attached to the worldly objects which one had liked earlier, that he should not get attached to, number one. That's called Yatamanas Samnya. Then even when such objects present themselves to the front in the presence of that person, he will ignore. For example, if Adiyan says, I will stay away from coffee because it's an addiction, I'm addicted to coffee, so I control not taking coffee. And if somebody makes coffee in the kitchen, the aroma of that coffee flavor touches my olfactory nerves, the nose, and then I open my eyes. Coffee is being made, so I get lured, attracted. That should not happen. Even when the object present themselves to the front, later they will ignore their presence. That is the second stage. Third stage, even if they happen to experience that smell, that taste, that seeing that particular object or touching that object, they will not show any interest. The person who has steady state of mind. Ekendriya Samnya. Then Vasikara Samnya. To completely remove them with utmost disgust, disinterest. Completely. That's the Vairagyam. Ragam means desire. Viragam means no desire. From that comes Vairagyam, renunciation of any interest. And that is what is talked about. Yata samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashaha indriyanindriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. We saw that like the tortoise, the turtle which pulls its head and the four legs inside its shell, they pull the five sense organs within them, and they do not let the sense organs waver, run amok behind the sensory pleasures, sensual pleasures, material pursuits, worldly pleasures. They would not go. And he talks about so beautifully, Krishna mentions. And then in that slokam, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha, he mentions that Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopsyasya param drishtva nivartate. He mentions that to the senses, the ear, mouth, etc., the sound, taste are the food. For the ear, the sound is the food. For the mouth, the tongue, taste is the food. Even by removing the sense facilities from these sense objects, making them completely disengaged, the desire alone cannot be extinguished. The desire will be inside. The desire will still be there. It's like the fire spark which is covered by the ash completely. It will look as if it has already been extinguished. There is no fire, but it is inside brewing. And if there is a small spark that comes near, it will pick up the fire. So it is there. Even that hankering will not go away. So when one sees the self distinguished, the Sthita Prajnan, for him it will go away. It is more pleasurable. The self, the Jivatma, is more pleasurable than any other sense objects. So So here Krishna mentions that yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha. Even if a person desire cannot be controlled by our own efforts. If you think you can control, no. Even if a person has the ability to discriminate between acceptable and unacceptable, he draws his senses away from the unacceptable and strives, he takes an effort to focus the mind on the jivatma, on the atma. The senses, the indriyams, the sense organs, armed, they are equipped with the attachment, with the anger. If you don't get, they are very powerful. And that's what he says, Kaunteya, Kwadande, Kunti Putra. They pull the mind away, the sense organs, from the Atma, from the pursuit of the Atma, and make it think of only the sense objects. That is why whenever we take an effort to control, to stay away, but it pulls us. We would like to stay away from the mobile phone, smartphone. Within 10 minutes, our hand reaches the smartphone. We look at again the reels, the YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, the WhatsApp, and it sucks our time. It is an addiction. So the collection of very powerful senses subdues even when the learned, even the scholars, and pulls them is a well-known saying that Krishna says. So what do we do? How do we get rid of it? He says in the 62nd slokam, which we saw last time, dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayato kamaha kama krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibramaha smriti bramsho buddhinashat pranashyati. Sri Krishna elaborates what will happen. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. He says the evil that will befall if a person does not follow his Krishna's instruction. You will perish if you attempt to control the senses relying on your effort alone without destroying your papam through meditation on my spiritual divine body. How to control the mind, how to control the sense organs? Very simple. Do not shut off the sense organ. Focus the ear on listening to the Bhagavat Sankirtana, Vishnu Sahasranama, songs, bhajans. Even if you want beat, there are lovely bhajans with a tremendous rock beat where you can jump with joy and dance. And you can do that. Look at the Hare Krishna devotees. And desires unremoved, thoughts will arise in you regarding the sense object. The desires will simply pull your sense objects, sense organs. And you cannot stay away without enjoying without enjoying that objects of desire. Because the Jivatma is eternal, imperishable. So, because you are deprived of the desire, you will get anger within you. That anger, you would do anything to get that. It's like a withdrawal symptom. Look at the drug addicts. They will not be able to control because their senses, their body is so attached to the object of pleasure. So the angry person will even kill his acharyan, guru, the one who advises. He will not like it. So thereby you will forget that you started on the exercise of controlling the senses. Your discrimination to practice the means required for attaining the self, the Atma Sakshatkaram, the pursuit of desire, pursuit of Atma, the yoga, to control, to reach the spiritual spiritual pursuit is all destroyed, then you perish. Even though Jivatma does not perish, here the perish means you will go down the drain. And that's what it talks about. So, he keeps mentioning these particular things. So then he mentions Ragadvesha Vimuktaistu Vishayan Indriyaischaran Atma Aishwarya Videyatma Prasadamadigachati. Shri Krishna speaks of the benefits that will come out, that will flow if we follow Krishna's instructions. If you meditate on my Divya Mangala Vigraham, my divine body, as prescribed by me, your papam will be destroyed. Because just simply looking at the divine form of Perumal, Krishna, will be one bhogyam, parama bhogyam. It is so sweet, it is so lovely to behold in our eyes, and the papam will get crushed. It is Subha Ashrayam. It is Shubham because it cleanses the papams, and it is Ashrayam because we will be able to hold on to the form. Thereby we satisfy our eyes, we are able to listen to the kirtanam, satisfy the ears, we are able to eat his prasadam, satisfy the tongue. We would be smelling the beautiful flowers, the tulasi. We would be able to hug the divine child Krishna, baby Krishna, or even the handsome lad. So, as explained earlier, when the mind is free from papams, free from impurities, because the moment you think of Krishna, even for a minute, for a few minutes, the papam get crushed. Your mind becomes purer, and under one control, all sorrow is eradicated. Whoever has a firm, placid, pure mind, only his intellect will stay. So he tells all this to Arjuna. As explained earlier, whoever meditates on my auspicious spiritual divine body, I, being the Lord of the universe, will liberate them from all papams. Thereby it becomes possible to abandon the likes and the dislike and totally bring the senses under control. That is why he is called Rishikesha. Rishikesha is the one who controls the sense organs. So, Atmavashyai, here it is to be interpreted that treating them with contempt. We should consider that when we talks about here, due to this being contemptuous of the sense objects, with the Vishaya Sukham, the worldly objects, the worldly pleasures should be looked down with contempt. It's not, we had liked it few years back. Swami Vasudevacharya Swami used to say, Navalpakam Vasudevacharya, when we go and tell our friends that now I don't take this, now I don't take that, I've changed, I've transformed, I'm able to control, I stay away from that. Suppose they offer something which should not be taken, whatever it is. So they say, when you were, how much you used to do this, how much you used to take this, I know. They will say, the friends say, yeah, that was in the past. One can change, right, for a better. It's not that we should never change and we should be just where we are. We can say, yum, vayam, vayam. You are you, we are we. You be where you are, let me be where I am. So, just because we had in the past doesn't mean that we should continue to have. In fact, here the Lord says very many times that even if you do in the older age, older times, still there is nothing wrong. In fact, he mentions that even when you become old, even there is nothing wrong. You can still control the mind. So It's not that one needs to be young. And that's why Indriyam hi charatam, Indriyanam hi charatam, yanmano nu vidiyate, tatasya harati prajnam, vayur namamivambasi. So, if the mind functions in tune with the senses, enjoying the sense objects, if the mind functions in tune with the sense organs, if it goes behind the sense organ, it completely robs him, removes him from the wisdom, the intellect, which thinks about the Atma. We are able to think that Atma is different from the body. The intellect says you need to stay away, but the mind gets pulled by the senses. So it makes the Atma leave the mind and go behind leave the buddhi and go behind the objects. Just as a boat sailing in the waters is forcibly dragged away by a strong wind blowing in the opposite direction, the senses will hijack the mind towards the sense objects. In 67 sloka, tasmadyasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvashaha indriyanindriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. He said, therefore, the mind following the sense organ, senses, being opposed to the intellect, being opposed to the discriminatory intellect, becomes established when a person focuses mind on me, Krishna says. Because instead of letting the mind go behind the sensual object, jihve kirtaya keshavam. So you do the jihve, or tongue, sing the names of Keshava. Or nose, smell the tulasi flower. Or legs, go to the temple. Or hand, fold and perform namaskaram. Or eyes, look at the divine body of Krishna. Or body, do the prostrations, humble prostrations, dandavat pranami, shashtanga namaskarams, prostrations, again and again. So when a person focuses mind towards me, on me, having the auspicious Divya Mangala Vigraham, divine, beautiful, spiritual, majestic, handsome form, his senses get controlled in every way from their objects. For example, Vedanta Desika used to say, if you throw golden coins on the grass, if you throw on the grass or in the forest, the animals, the cows, the deer or the tiger, whoever that are the horses who eat the grass, they will come, they will smell the gold coins and they will go. They will not say, hey, gold, somebody has kept gold, that's good, I will pick it up. The deer and the cows and the whatever horses, they will not pick up because they are interested in grass. Those who understand the importance or the value of gold would never look at the grass, will take the gold. Those who do not know the value of gold will take the grass. So if after knowing the gold, if you still go after the grass, are we not stupid? That's what Krishna says. Look at the grass, look at me, look at the gold. His senses get controlled in that fashion. And then he mentions so beautifully that having taught the means so far, Bhagavan speaks of the fruit. Yanisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagrati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munehe. Having taught, Bhagavan speaks of the fruit, the palan. He who is always engaged in the contemplation of the Jivatma with a controlled mind, as described earlier, is blind to the other objects, to the others to the others with uncontrolled mind. Only the objects are noticeable everywhere. They see only the objects. Whereas the one who has controlled mind, the yogi, he perceives only the Atma in everything. He sees, wherever he sees only the Atma, not the body. He sees the Atma. He sees Krishna in everything. The yogi. The other kind of the person is blind to the Atma. He looks at only the body. He looks at, wow, that's good. Yay, this phone is so beautiful. Oh, that girl is so beautiful. Oh, this man is very handsome. So, what is right for other beings, for yogi, is not right. What is night for others is the yogi is awake. So nothing is clear to the crow in the night and to the owl in the day. Therefore, what is night to the owl is a day to the crow. Similarly, the yogi sees different and the others see different things in the world. So, apurjamanam achala pratishtam samudrama pravishanti yadvate tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantima apnoti nakama kami. Here he mentions apuryamana slokam. The ocean is full by itself and is always the same in its form. Many rivers flow into the ocean on their own. Though the rivers bring great volume of water into the sea remains the same, undisturbed, unperturbed. It does not swell when waters come into the ocean, nor it will go down and become dry when the rivers do not come to it. In the same way, whether objects of sense, the sense objects like sound or vision or taste come into contact with the yogi or not, whenever he has a stable mind, undisturbed, he alone attains shanti, peace. He is not disturbed whether it is there or not. Thus, the third stage is explained. And then he says, Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumams charati nisprigaha nirmamo nirahankaraha shashanti madhigacchati. Sound and other sense objects, the sound, taste, whatever, the vision, all that, being whatever that is sought after, are referred to as kamaha. Kamaha. The person who foregoes the objects of desire, which one normally desires, without any desires of them, remains from the feeling of mind, nirmamo, nirahankaraha, mine, it is my body, it is my object, it is my pleasure, it is my pen. That would not be there. If somebody wants the thing, okay, I will give it away. No attachment. My father always used to say, Tyage naike amrtatva manasum. Yadanin ningiya nodal adanai vidal. Thiruvalluvar says, Yadanin ningiya nodal. The one that when it gets removed from you, if it pains you, that you should leave. That is renunciation. Yadanin, such a beautiful Tirukural. So then he says, Yesha Brahmi Sthiti Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitvasyam Antakhalepi Brahma Nirvana Mrichati. Here he says, realizing the nature of the Atma thoroughly, completely. If you perform this of disinterested action, Karma Yoga, you perform your duties without any attachment to the fruits of the action. You don't care. You fight. Whether you get killed or you kill the enemies, it's beside the point. You fight to the best of your abilities. Do your duty. Karmanyevadhikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. remove, disengage from the fruits of the action, and it will generate completely about the knowledge of the self, jnana yoga. It will culminate into a jnana yoga. It will bequeath the self which is full of ananda, bliss. So this is what will become. And in fact, it's so beautifully here he mentions the 3 stages or the 4 stages. It's very difficult to control the mind, I know, but we need to. In fact, there used to be a story between Vedavyasa and Shuka Brahma. Shuka is the son of Vedavyasa. Once Shuka was going and Vedavyasa was calling Shuka Brahma, and Shuka was going 100 meters, 200 meters away. So he was calling him 16-year-old son, Vyasa. And he was going towards the Devaloka, for example. And the celestial girls, the Apsaras, 3, they were all taking bath in the nearby river. And Shuka Brahman, he is a complete yogi. He has got no attachment at all to the sensual pursuit, sense organ, completely. So he was going. Vedavyasa came, and when Vedavyasa came towards them, chasing Shuka Brahma, they covered themselves with the clothes. So Vyasa asked them, when my son Shuka Brahma, who is young, when he was going, you people were not at all bothered to cover yourself. But when I come chasing him, I didn't even see you. When I start running behind him, why do you cover yourself? They replied, because you asked this question. Why do you ask this question? Because you have seen us. He didn't even bother to see us. He sees only the Lord in everyone. He doesn't see the body. It's not to belittle or talk low about Vedavyasa. It is to talk greatly about the Shuka Brahma. Vedavyasa himself is a great jnani. Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. However, it is to talk about the glory of Shuka Brahma this anecdote is referred to. He is in the final stage, Shuka Brahma. Whereas Vedavyasa is like in the 3rd stage, we may say. If such is the case for yogis, what about us? We get lured, attracted, controlled completely by the mind, the objects of pleasure, and we get sucked into it. However, like Krishna said, do not worry. Keep abhyasena kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. We are going to talk about it in the next few sessions. Abhyasam, practice, practice, practice. His divine form, his beautiful kirtanas, his wonderful Bhagavad-gita, his Vishnu Sahasranama. Listen, recite, see him, prostrate, whatever that's possible. Spend a few minutes, slightly increase the time. Thereby, we can slowly purify our mind and disengage from the running behind the material pursuits and worldly pleasure, and focus on what is to be done as our duty, and we will excel, no doubt, because we have the God's grace as well as we are not attached to the fruits of the action. Dhanyosmi Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.